This is the 3T Exploro that I've just been using to go bikepacking over the Atlas Mountains of Morocco. And back as well, in fact. There is a video over on GCN right now documenting that adventure, and you should probably watch it if for no other reason than to see the explanation as to why this bike is quite as filthy as it is. And me as well, in fact, actually, because I'm utterly filthy as well. Now, this being the tech channel, I thought I would take the opportunity to go into a little bit more detail about this amazing bike and just what makes it quite as special as it is. Now, this is, of course, it in full bikepacking regalia, but this is the bike itself. So there it is, quite a stunner, I think you'll agree. Now, this is the brand new flat mount version of the Exploro. So it does, of course, have flat mount disc brakes now, as opposed to the post mounts of its predecessor. It's also got a slightly redesigned and lighter fork on there as well, but otherwise, it's very much true to the essence of that original bike. And it's quite a difficult bike to describe, if I'm completely honest. And when it was launched, perhaps the biggest headline grabber was the fact that it was aerodynamic. And a lot of people felt that an all-road versatile bike needn't be aerodynamic. Although I think that might be looking at it in the wrong way personally, because if you're going to make a bike that is lightweight, which it is, it's 1,000 grams for the frame, 400 grams for the fork, and it's going to be stiff and it's going to be comfortable. If you can make it aerodynamic, then you might as well. So it's been designed around fatter tyres. Now, one of the trump cards of this frame is that you can fit really wide tyres on. As you can see, I have right now, but we'll come on to that in a little bit. But they say, 3T say, that with a 40mm wide tyre with tread on it, it is as aerodynamic as a standard road bike with 28mm tyres and round tubes. So how they've done it is that they've made that down tube enormous, basically, and they've also squared it off. So the idea is that the airflow coming off a big fat tyre can be caught effectively by that down tube, and that makes it significantly faster. You can also see that the top tube there, the seat clamp is integrated into the top tube, and also you've got those characteristic drop seat stays, which are really common now on most aerodynamic bikes. Clearly, it is a faster option. According to the research that we carried out on GCN, if I can call it that, we found that having a giant saddle pack and a frame bag and a top tube pack doesn't dramatically alter the aerodynamics of a bike when there is a rider on it. But for this trip, I have, of course, had an enormous handlebar bag, which definitely does alter the aerodynamics and quite significantly. So I perhaps haven't been feeling the full benefit of its aeroness. However, let's come back to that whole thing of fatter tyres. What I said was for the trump card for this trip. Now, this is one of those rare frames that allows you to swap between wheel sizes. So it is designed for 700C wheels with road tyres or fatter cyclocross tyres up to about 40mm. But these ones are Zipp's 650B size 303. So as you can see, a smaller diameter, but I've managed to fit mountain bike tyres on there. So these are Continental Speed Kings, and they're 55mm wide. And so that means that the overall diameter is similar to a 700C wheel with a cyclocross tyre on. So the handling characteristics of the bike are the same. However, I've got this huge air volume which cushions me over the really rough terrain that I have just been over. It's difficult to work out exactly how these tyres performed on this trip, given that I was weighed down by an awful lot of luggage, but they seem to roll pretty darn fast on the road, and I was certainly glad of that file tread when the terrain turned more testing. It's fair to say, though, that these Zipp wheels have not exactly been designed with mountain bike tyres in mind, although thankfully, down to the pretty generous inner rim width of 21mm, the tyres do sit fine, even if aerodynamically doesn't exactly work that well, thanks to the quite marked transition between rim and tyre. And also, actually, the Zipp wheels are tubeless compatible, whereas the tyres are not. So I've been running inner tubes, although thankfully, touch wood, I still haven't had a flat tyre. Now, permit me to come back to the frame for a moment. If you watch seeing the GCN Tech channel for long, you'll know that we sometimes struggle to accurately describe this kind of all-road versatile bike. And so we've kind of developed what we call the spectrum. At the one end, you've got a super relaxed touring bike. At the other end, you've got quite an aggressive fast bike. And this one falls more towards the racier end of the spectrum. And that's despite the fact that it's got mountain bike tyres on there. And principally that comes down to the geometry. So if you compare it to 3T's road bike, the Strada, it's a little bit higher and a little bit shorter. But if you compare it to many other road bikes, it's about ballpark. And you can see that on this medium-sized frame, I've got a really nice saddle to bar drop, which I love. Now, when you look at the reach, it's about 1 centimetre shorter than I'd normally run on a standard road bike. But then this was not a standard road ride, and so actually having the levers a little bit closer to the saddle has actually been of benefit in this occasion. Now, if we can get a little bit geeky about some of the other aspects of the geometry, then that will also explain why this bike is quite racy and quite nimble. So the chainstay length is 415 millimeters, which is kind of ballpark for a normal road bike, but of course, this can fit much fatter tyres on. So that's one aspect of it. Then you've also got quite a sizable bottom bracket drop, or at least certainly road bike standard, so 70 millimeters, whereas like a cyclocross bike might have a little bit less. And then up front, if we compare again this to the Strada, you'll find that it's got a slightly slacker head angle, which normally makes a bike feel a little bit more relaxed and a bit more stable. But the offset of the fork is different. So it's 43 mil on the Strada, which is kind of normal road bike, and this one is up to 50 mil. So what that does effectively is it actually makes the bike feel a little bit more nimble again because it decreases the trail. And so although you've now got a slightly longer wheelbase, which makes it feel more stable, you do still have nice nimble steering. And that's particularly important when you're running wider tyres, because the wider the tyre, the more sluggish the steering could feel. So you do need some way to offset that. Now, perhaps that's enough ultra nerdiness for now. Let's turn to another cool aspect of this bike, those cranks. Highly distinctive, even though they're brand new, is the 3T Torno Limited crankset. You can see that on the frame there are mounting bolts for a front derailleur, but this is of course a 1x setup, which is why we're able to use these 1x specific cranks. So you've got a wolf tooth chainring on there that has been manufactured to 3T's bolt pattern there. You can see that's pretty distinctive. But basically, those cranks are super lightweight at just over 400 grams, and they're also marketed as being aero as well. Again, you might not think that matters too much in this particular application, but it's pretty cool. So the actual crank arms themselves are about 3 millimeters narrower than the next narrowest crank arm, and also the Q factor on there is even narrower. Although I found actually that given I've got enormous bikepacking bags between my legs, I have actually put a couple of spaces in as well, just to make that Q factor a little bit more what I'm used to. Now, in terms of gear sizes, we've actually got a 40 tooth chainring on there, and that's paired to a 1042 cassette at the back. Now, I'm very pleased to be able to say I didn't use the 42. You can see it's nicely covered in dust there. I did spend quite a bit of time in the 36 though. Then at the other end of the cassette, I tended to stop pedaling at about 56, 57k an hour, just because, well, I was bikepacking, so I didn't need to go any faster than that. But at one point, I did test it out, and I was quite happy spinning away at 65k an hour, but you probably wouldn't want to go much faster than that with a 40-tooth chainring on there. Now, before we stray too far away from the chainring, I want to draw your attention to another thing on this frame. So down here, you'll notice that dropped chainstay. And if we come a little bit closer, you'll also see that the tyre clearance now with this 55mm tyre on is pretty tight. But the fact that we've managed to squeeze a 55 in there altogether is pretty darn impressive. And it is down entirely to that dropped stay that allows it to bow outwards enough to clear the tyre, but still not get in the way of your chainring and that all-important chain line. Right, then what about some of the more personal choices then? You can see I've got Shimano mountain bike pedals on there. I can't remember exactly which ones, they're pretty old now, but nevertheless, they are still working and in one piece. And the reason I put mountain bike pedals on there are effectively because there was a high chance that I was actually going to have to get off and walk. But even though I didn't, actually having mountain bike shoes on was a real advantage for bikepacking because you do spend more time on your feet anyway. Then moving up from there, we've got a Physique Arione saddle. That's my choice, I put it on there because I like it. And it's on a 3T seat post that's specific to this frame, and it's got that nice flattened edge at the back, so that is more aerodynamic, but also generally having a flatter edge at the end of tubes like that will give it a little bit more give as well, so a bit more flex in the frame. Then when we move forward, we've got a 3T stem, and then these super cool 3T Superghaia handlebars. So effectively, if you were holding onto the brake hoods, you might not notice any difference from normal road bars. But as soon as you go past the hoods, the drops flare out quite significantly. So it gives you a really confident position when you're tackling quite aggressive terrain. And actually, if you can permit me a little geeky aside again, I was quite interested about the width of these, so I dug out an old pair of carbon mountain bike handlebars that I used to race with in 2006. And would you know it, that with my carbon bar ends attached, they were almost exactly the same, about a centimetre wider than these ones there. I thought that was quite interesting, even if you didn't. Right, also, the other thing to mention is that I unfortunately had to swap out the carbon bottle cages that came with this bike, purely because with that frame bag, I needed to squish the bottles in sideways as opposed to being able to pull them out normally. Then the other thing to mention is that I've got a Wahoo Elemnt up front. I chose the Elemnt over the Bolt because it's got a little bit of extra battery life. It's got 16 hours on there. And so the only time I needed to charge it up on the move was obviously the day after we'd been out sleeping under the stars, and I couldn't charge it up overnight. We plotted the route out beforehand and uploaded it onto there so we could follow it turn by turn. The only thing I had to remember to do was to update the maps. So previously I had no reason to have Africa on there, but I was able to just update it very quickly. And so now I have. Frankly, there is so much to talk about on this bike that I've had to gloss over some of the details, which is a bit of a shame. But if you have any questions about this particular bike, then do get involved in the comment section down below and I will do my best to answer them. Now, if you haven't seen that video on GCN already, then please do take a look. It should be quite good to watch, although I don't know yet because I haven't technically reached Marrakesh yet, but my fingers are firmly crossed. Anyway, get through to that video just down there, and also make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you like this bike.